is it, like 55, 54 millionaires now in the last
58.
58.
Yes.
Oh my Lord. So he's almost to 60. He's got room for 2 more left if you guys want to get on this. He's helped create 58 millionaires. He's been in the industry for over 30 years. He knows the ins and outs. He's been mentored personally by the legends of network marketing themselves. So welcome, Robert, to our training today.
Well, thank you, Jenna. I'm super, super excited. And I really hope this really serves people. I'm honored that you asked me to be on here. I'm sort of giddy.
Oh, I love doing trainings with Robert. I know if you guys have seen his trainings before, he's very involved with his group and his team. He's probably one of the only people I know that at his level of success still works on Saturday. So kudos to you for that. He's got all kinds of jokes. If you've never laughed at one of his jokes, you will today. They just come naturally, I think. In fact,
I'm under pressure now.
I know. In fact, he's the one that has coined this on stage several times, and I use it to this day when people say, what do you do for a living? And then you do one of these. You say, you ever hear one of those pyramid things? Yeah. You ever heard that the guy at the top makes all the money? Yeah. I'm that guy. Yeah. Like I still use that to this day. So, all right, Robert, we have a jam-packed call today. So let's get right into it. Would you please do us the honor and giving us from your perspective, a little bit of your background, your claim to fame. Give us why you even got into network marketing to begin with. I've read your book. I don't know if everybody else has read your book. I know all this information's in there, but please tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I had just an awful childhood. I think the only positive thing that happened in my childhood is I found out that I couldn't read. I couldn't read and I couldn't spell. So I was told at a very early age that I was special, and I was in a special class, and so I already knew I was more special than everybody. So that was pretty cool. Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Hey, Josh.
What a surprise. Now I'm nervous. I don't know what to do now.
Josh just wanted to pop in and say hello. He liked your little comments you made. All right. So they called you special and you were in a special class.
Right. And I tell people I'm on the special bus, and I really fell in love with people that were special. You know what I mean? A lot of people were more learning disabilities than me. But I always felt like I needed to fight for the underdog. And so my deal is that all of a sudden I got taken away from my parents at a very young age and just got passed from foster parent to foster parent to foster parent. And just, no need to go into the ugly experiences, but every kind of abuse that you can imagine. And I was taken away from my parents because my dad abused me and my mom wouldn't protect me. So they took me away from my mother. And so a lot of crazy stuff happening there. And I met one of my uncles. It's funny, my hierarchy, if you ever did a genealogy or something like that, I don't even know where they are. I told my son, he bought me a 23andMe one, that I could send it in. And I told him that I hadn't done it yet because I didn't want my brothers arrested for something else. But wow. What happened to me is I got to meet one of my uncles, and all he said to me, Jenna, was, you're really good with your hands. Did you fix those bikes? And I said, yeah, and I fixed these motorcycles and I fixed this. So people told me I wasn't brain smart, but I was common sense smart. And so that's what led me into being a mechanic. And I don't know why to this day that I consistently look for people that were better than me at anything. So I would always find the best people and I would learn from them, and ended up getting to work on race cars, professional race cars in California with Roger Penske, which was one of my first mentors, and learned so many lessons from that guy, man. He really molded me, and he just seemed like he took me under his wing, but I wanted to pay attention to him. And then I got hurt on his job and basically had a doctor tell me that I couldn't be a mechanic anymore. And it was like the second darkest moment of my life. I lost everything. My wife, which she was my girlfriend at the time, I just told her she didn't deserve to be with me. I was a single parent, and finally sent my son to live with his mom, and lost my electricity, lost everything. And there was a couple of times where I was thinking, I don't need to be here anymore. And I had someone that had the courage, that didn't know me enough, to reach out to me and say, hey, I met this guy. He had this big, huge check, and he's expanding a company, and he's looking for people to teach. No experience necessary. And you can make six figures your first year if you follow his proven system. And I just wanted to meet the guy just to see this check. And when I seen it, that was the second person in my life that told me, you know what, Robert, you're going to crush this. You're going to crush this. And I was like, sort of, really? So I only remember at that time 2 people telling me that I was good at anything. And so I ran down those paths.
So how old were you when you first got into the network marketing industry?
I was 27.
27.
Yeah.
Already had your first child.
Yep.
Who is living with his mom now.
Yep.
You've overcome so much. But speaking of, the things you had to overcome to get to where you are now, you mentioned some of your mentors already. You said Roger Penske was sort of a mentor to you. Who is your mentor in network marketing when you first got started?
It was a guy named Bill Gould, and he's sort of synonymous with some pretty crazy stuff. But his mentors were Larry Huff and Larry Thompson and Jim Rohn. So he cut his teeth just like Jeff Roberti in a little company called Herbalife.
Gotcha. Well, we all have heard of those names. If you haven't, go look them up because they are absolute legends in the industry. So you were raised by legends, which is amazing. Yeah. So what do you think? I know this is not on my list of questions I sent you, and I told you we're going to go rogue on here today.
Freestyle.
I know. But what do you think was the hardest lesson you had to overcome during your network marketing journey?
Believing in me. I felt like if you watch Red-Nosed Reindeer, Randolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. My son said it. It's always stuck in my head. And, I just always felt like I was a misfit on Misfit Island. I just never, ever really believed in myself. And it all came from abandonment issues. I thought, golly, how many families can I be with and they don't want me anymore? That wasn't the story really, but that was what I told myself. And for every blessing, with every curse, there's a blessing. When people ask me what drives me, I always told myself that I was going to have this 3-ring binder, that if I ever met my father and my mom, I would go through and show them how effing wrong they were to do what they did to me. I wanted to just go through page after page after page of, listen, you know what? You were wrong about me. And I still can't get that out of my head today. I still, I want to prove to the world that I'm worth keeping around.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. My childhood was not anywhere near what you experienced, but, my parents were divorced at a very young age. I was 6 months old when they split. I think they were signing paperwork in the hospital while I was being born, to part ways. And my whole life, I went through the same thing with, parents battling and going back and forth and all kinds of stuff. And the same issues I had to overcome within myself, which were abandonment issues, just like you. I feel like this is kind of the elephant in the room, not just in network marketing, but in life in general. People think that in order to succeed, they've got to study marketing. They've got to study sales. They've got to study, how to get Facebook followers, right?
Yeah.
And they do all these things. But what they don't address is the internal struggles that they've got to overcome within themselves first. And I think you've been a master at kind of tackling those things head on. And you also mentioned
when I heard paradigms, from Bob Proctor 33 years ago, I just dived into personal development. And when all of a sudden these people always switch the words, I just learned from Roger Penske that everything is usually the opposite of the way that we were taught and think. The total opposite. So people keep saying, I wish I had. If I had, fill in the frickin' blank, then I could be. It's the other way. You have to be. Jenna and I can tell you exactly word for word what to say. And when you reach out people, you'll repel them. You will repel them. And I said to a guy one time, and he got mad at me, and I said, I think that you can't recruit because the universe knows that if you did get someone to make a commitment, that you would abandon them and not help them and probably distract them and get them to go the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And he went, that's not nice. And I went, I think that people are being protected from you.
Yeah. That's really interesting too. And we see this a lot in our industry. In fact, my oldest son, who's 14, going into high school, knows everything about everything. He knows more than I do. And, he tries to help me parent my other children. And I'm like, you can't give advice yet until you've lived it. There's one thing to study the theory and all the lessons, but until you've lived through it, it's a different story altogether.
Sure
we've got people that want to be trainers before they go through the experience of producers themselves. And I think that's one thing that separated you from a lot of other people in this industry is you've walked the walk. You don't just talk the talk. So, let's ask another tough question here. I know we're kind of going all over the place, but
sure.
You've been in network marketing for 30 something years. You've been in, I guess, 19 companies
You're right on.
span of time, right? And you, at one point, even retired, became an industry trainer where you're kind of like a neutral person that's training everybody in lots of different companies. Why did you come out of retirement and join yet another network marketing company after you were already retired?
Well, my kryptonite is a beautiful person named Terry Hollis. When a lot of my friends found out that I got involved in MDC, they were pissed. They were like, why didn't you tell me that you were interested in getting involved? And I said, because I wasn't. And it was like, but you should have been approaching my wife with the business. If you did that, and Terry had said that she's seen a few of your videos. I find out later that she was sort of setting me up, which she is an excellent person at doing that. I just love and adore. So I had sort of given up, but I had done it a few other times like you, Jenna. Listen, I'm putting my heart and soul in this. I'm all in. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. And then the company changes stuff and the leadership's getting arguments. I think the biggest problem with people is their ego. Roger Penske said this to me my first year working with him. He said, the worst kind of success is a little. Because you think you frickin' figured it out. You got a rank of ads, you got the biggest check you've ever gotten, you go, I got this. And man, the universe will tell you no. It's like, the little bit of success, you get that high, and then you figure out that everything is not working the way you're doing, and your people don't like you anymore because your ego and you're telling them you know what to do. And all of a sudden your team falls apart. And so there's a lot of these little lessons that people need to learn. And I know, Jenna, you probably feel the same way. You probably feel like you wish you could just let them, especially with you having children, you just want them to not have to go through those lessons, but that makes you who you are to be successful.
Yeah.
So you got to sort of just watch people go out there and hit it and then forget it and then come back and learn again. And I'm still learning today. I've learned a lot in the last 2 years working with MDC and you and Josh. I consider you and Josh my newest mentors. That's the people I'm following. You guys have set a path that I haven't achieved. So I just want to master what you guys put together.
Well, all I know is we don't know everything. And
yeah, me either.
If you've got a heart for learning, and a thirst for knowledge, that's what separates good from great, I think, along the way. And,
no doubt.
Anytime I'm feeling stagnant or like, I have all these people follow me, I don't have the answers, I dive into a new book or I seek out a new mentor or I challenge myself to to learn something new, to stay relevant, and to stay ahead of, what's to come. And
Yeah.
I think, I had similar experiences in previous network marketing companies too. And I remember feeling like it was like the Wizard of Oz and I seen behind the curtain at what was happening on the corporate side. And I'm like, how does anybody succeed here? But yet you had succeeded. You had hit the top rank of every company that you had been a part of. And there's no exception for coming over to MDC and hitting the top rank here. Of course, we've got one left. Master affiliate. Nobody's hit it yet. Your goal is to hit it first. Yes. But now I'm going to ask, how do you always hit the top rank of every company that you're with? And how did you hit super affiliate?
Well, I got to say, without a shadow of a doubt, it was my mentors. Even the stuff that I learned from Roger Penske. When I found Bill, I'm very grateful and thankful that I found my mentor at the right time in 1985. And listen closely, you guys. Herbalife got attacked by the federal government for making product claim. They took them to their knees. So this company was doing $1 billion, and 2 years later it was doing 100 million. And so, Mark Hughes won the battle, but he lost the war. So Jeff Herberti and Bill Gould and these people left Herbalife and jumped in this company called NSA. And they were all fighting to see who could get to the top first. So I just happened to get introduced to Bill when he was starting over. And so the magic that I seen him do was he wasn't interested in training me, Jenna. He was interested in getting me results. That's all he cared about. So, a lot of people I see nowadays, someone got in. Well, what do I do now? Go to training. No, you should focus on getting them a result. So get them to big picture vision and get them excited and emotionally about what their future is going to be like and how you're going to get a direct deposit into their account in the next 2 Thursdays. And get them so emotional that they'll introduce you to the very best people that they know. So I tell people all the time, ever since Josh and you made the decision to make this free for me, it was the best gift you guys could give me, because now I can take broke down people that have no money, and every one of them have something in common. They know people that are not broke. And so if I can get them a result with the comp plan, it also rewards them for referring me and sticking me in front of their best people. I'm doing more Zooms now than I did 2 years ago. I'm doing more Zooms now than I did a year ago, because I'm taking that free model that you guys put together and getting people and say, listen, my goal is to get you a check. Who do you know? And so that has been really, really the key for me. Is I love doing that. I love getting people results. That's what my mentor did for me.
Can you tell us a little bit about how these Zoom calls go?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the one thing that you teach, which is the peak, the present, and then the pass it, right? Pass it on. And so what I teach people to do is, with enthusiasm and excitement, do less than a minute, with excitement and energy, curiosity and urgency, get someone to pre-enroll. Then I changed everything I've done. As soon as a person pre-enrolls, I go, Jenna, wow, I just seen that you pre-enrolled. What I would like to do is let's get you activated so you can get not only the free app, but also the free marketing and the free training in the background. Let's get on a Zoom and get you on there. Well, as soon as I show them just a couple of things, I immediately show them where the URLs are, and I show them how to post it on their social media, and also how to copy. A lot of people don't know how to copy and paste. So I'll show them how to copy and paste in the messenger and the text using the app. And so I've done this so well that people, sometimes I tell them right before we leave, let's check on your contact manager. And they go into their contact manager and they go, oh my God, that's Jill. I go, Jill, that's a friend of mine. They've already pre-enrolled. And I go, okay, so what should we do? And she goes, I don't know. I said, let's connect with Jill right now and say, congratulations. I thank you for pre-enrolling. If we can jump on a Zoom right now. And I mean, that duplication, I'm getting chills right now, is happening so fast in my group, because I'm just showing these people exactly how to use the system you guys put together, and I'm not getting them trained. I'm not interested in getting them trained. They can figure that out later.
Right. But what you are doing, which is genius, and I don't know if you guys are picking up on this, is he's educating his people, his prospects, before they're even enrolled. He's educating them every step of the way. He's showing them their back office. He's showing them how the system works. He's showing them where their people are being, how they're opting in, and every step of the way. And this builds belief in the prospect, because if you're educating them every step of the way, there's no need for a hard close at the end, because they've just gone through this amazing process and it's just assumed. You're literally just assuming the sale. Look at this. You've already got people pre-enrolled under you. You're already building a business. You haven't done anything yet. We don't need to stop and watch a 45-minute training. We need to take action right now while it's hot, while you're still excited and motivated to pursue this. And let's get in. You tap right into their contacts immediately, which I think is genius. I had an old network marketing trainer also, mentor, I guess, or upline in the past, and he was the same exact way. And I remember hitting director in that company in an hour, because he literally just had me pull out my phone, and I enrolled 8 people like that. And same thing. And I was like, how did I do this? And it's because you're going for the result first, right?
Right.
Before you're going into study everything, study all the PDFs, figure out how to put a lead page together, figure out how to make your own Robert Hollis, right? Or, your own website. People get so distracted in, oh, I'm an entrepreneur now. Let me go build tools and let me go build all this stuff. But you're just showing them how to use what's already there, not overcomplicate it, not overthink it. And you're believing in them. What you've learned from your mentors is that they had belief in you. So you're giving them borrowed belief in them, which is leading them through that process, it makes it so much easier when they're ready to join.
Totally. And the other thing that I learned when my mentor did this with me is he asked me just a couple of questions, Jenna. He said, listen, I want you to think of a name. And I looked at him and I went, what? He said, no, I just listen to me. I want you to think of a first name. I just need one. And I said, okay. And he goes, who is the most successful person you know? Who's a person that's super competitive? Who's a person that's optimistic? Who's a person that's a born leader? Might be a little even materialistic on a positive side. They always wear the nicest clothes, got the nicest car, their apartment or their home looks awesome. And he goes, who is someone like that? I went, Rick. And he goes, why Rick? And I said, he owns his own plumbing company. He's my cousin. And he goes, great. He said, what if I called Rick like this? Hey, Rick, this is Bill. I know you don't know me directly, but I'm sitting here with your friend of yours, Bobby. Do you have a moment? Sure. Listen, we're expanding a company right now, and we're looking for people to help us expand this company. We're breaking records right now. And we know once you see the presentation, you're going to know some people that can help us. Would you do that for me? When can we get together? And of course, back then they had to drive to the location, right? And when he said that to me, Jenny, he looked at me right in the face. He said, if I called your prospect that way, would you allow me to call him? And I said, yeah. And he said, what's his number? And we didn't even have cell phone. And he picked up the phone and he said, sure. Okay. Got a pen and paper? Yeah. Here's the address. So we'll see you when? About an hour? Yeah. And hung up. My God, I was freaking stuck to the ceiling because we were selling water filters and this dude's a plumber. I was going like, oh my God. So then what did he do next? He didn't tell me to get into training. He goes, who else? And I sort of joked a little bit and he goes, who else? He goes, you didn't give me your best person. You know you didn't. And I went, yeah, you're right. You got to call Derry. And all of a sudden, he's got 6 people just like you coming down. And what got me involved in the industry was I was scared to death to lose out. These people were filling out applications, Jenna, and he was going, Robert, can I see you a second? I said, yeah. Pulls me over and he goes, when they get to the bottom, they're going to have to put in their sponsor's ID number. You don't have one. I go, holy crap, what do I got to do? And he goes, it costs $35. We can fax the application in. I went out to Rick and borrow $35 from Rick.
Wow. But that's amazing. And I feel like so many people get hung up. They go, okay, I'm ready to call my first prospect, and their fear sets in, and then they talk themselves right out of it. Oh, Rick and all these people, they're above me, right? They're more experienced. They have more business experience. They're more savvy. They dress better. They got a better car. We think ourselves right out of it. But I think this is also a lesson for all the uplines out there to be a good upline, because if you're not a good upline and you're not taking your people through this process, now, of course, we can modify it with today's technology, thankfully. But, if you're not pulling these people that are brand new to network marketing, they have no experience, and really helping them, get into action fast, you're doing them a disservice. You're leaving it up to them to figure out. And the sale doesn't end when you put in their credit card number, right? The sale continues to keep these people involved and motivated and earning income right away. So that is genius. I had an experience like that with this guy I'm telling you that just pulled my phone out. It was a flip phone at the time, and same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you have this much posture and confidence and you believe in me that I can do this, then I believe in myself I can do this too. And I remember thinking the guy that taught me, I was selling him Medicare insurance. He had just turned 65 years old, and he had a binder full of photocopied checks in there of all the checks he made, right? He's flipping through all the pages, and he's like, this is what I did from, month 5. This is month 6, month 7. And clear to the end of the year, he had earned $200 and something $1,000. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, your guy just met at an RV park. Now, granted, your RV is over $500,000, so it's a nice one, right?
Right.
But if you can do it here, and I'm selling you Medicare insurance, I can absolutely do this too. But it's on the job training. It's so much more powerful than watching somebody's Facebook Live immediately and getting trapped in the world of training where everybody's throwing their training around all the time. If you can get somebody to take action immediately, you're teaching them how to succeed quickly. And if you can duplicate that process, you can become a super affiliate.
Yeah, and the only thing that I did with people after that is say people do, as soon as someone pre-enrolls, people have an 8-second attention span. And when you guys made it free, I wanted to do a little test market for myself, right? So we enrolled like 70 some people. And I reached out to these people and said, so tell me, did you watch all of Josh's videos? And people go, no, I didn't. But yet they were already upgraded because we're putting people underneath them, because on psychology wise, Jenna, this is what I do to people. So Jenna, right now you're free. You come in, person comes in, you'll get 25%, and the rest of the 25% will come to me. And that's totally okay with me. Once we get going, I could, take you out for a pizza or something. But I want people in their mind, because my mentor did that to me. It wasn't, if he told me if I didn't come up with the money, I wouldn't get the money, I wouldn't have got the money. I just didn't want him getting my money. It's like, what do you mean you're getting the 38% off? These are my friends. And he's going, well, you're just not in that position. And I go, what's it cost? And he goes, $5,200. And I went, can you hold the orders till tomorrow? And I went and I pawned my Snap-on toolbox to get the money.
Wow.
I burnt my last bridge and made over 10 grand that first 45 days. So it worked. It worked big time.
Yeah. And a lot of us are like, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. We get all wrapped up over this excuse, but it's an excuse. If you had 24 hours to save your child's life and it cost $5,500, would you find the money? It's about motivation, right? I mean, if you guys can believe this, Josh sold his $600 drum set in order to become a rep in another company before he started My Daily Choice the first time. He didn't have the money to join as a distributor when Josh first got started in network marketing. He had to borrow some money from his uncle, and he had to sell his drum set in order to get into this business. Now he's got another drum set. It all worked out in the end, okay? But sometimes you got to really dig deep at how bad you really want this. And I think that your mentor did such a good job in making you believe that that check was coming.
Totally.
Yeah. So we have a lot to learn from that. That's awesome. So we kind of already talked about this. My next question for you was, how do you get people to join? But we kind of already went through that process. So now you guys know how does Robert get people to join? You're very good with psychology. You're a master at the takeaway. You know, if somebody gives you excuses, you honestly, it's like you believe them, right?
Yeah.
How does that work when you're talking to a prospect for the first time before you get them to agree to take the tour and become a pre-enrollee and all that? How does that conversation start?
Well, it's funny. I duplicate what was done to me. So my mentor said to me, you know, so where do you see yourself getting started? And I was like, I haven't worked for 9 months. I said, I don't even have electricity. Here's where people mess up. He looked at me straight in the face and he said, what if I could show you this business worked without you investing a dime? And I went, what? And he goes, I'll show you how it works. Give me a first name. And he did that. He built in my head a vision. And I tell people all the time, if you guys hear that a company called Amway, I don't know if you guys know this, but they did 8.9 billion last year. They're still number one. Do you guys realize that they don't really save money on any product? So they're professionals at dream building. They're professionals at getting people to say, wow, what if we could pay down that credit card? What if we could actually, do you remember when you first got a credit card? Oh yeah, I do. Well, guess what? What if we paid that down and all of a sudden you get a notice where they increased your credit? What would you do with that money? And you get them in a mindset on an emotional level of why they should give you the people that you know. They're not going to go after them. It's your job to learn this, to get them a result, because I can guarantee you, every one of you, when you got your first pre-enroll, you didn't make any money, but you're jacked out of your frickin' mind. Why don't you take the time to do that for the people you bring in? Then all of a sudden they get advanced and I mean, they activated, do their account. Now they got people that are activated. People will automatically upgrade. And I did this with Terry, believe it or not, when we started with you, Jenna. You know, I said, Terry, here's the deal. There's nothing better than your first 30-day story. And for some of you that have already been in for 30 days, guess what? Your 30-day story starts tomorrow. Because all you got to do is change your words. When I got serious and decided to do this full time, that's your first day. So I said, listen, we need to pre-enroll as many people as we can, as fast as we can. In our first 2 weeks, we pre-enrolled 320 people. Out of the 320 people, 80 of them upgraded. And that did 41,000 in points. So we went 5, 10, 25K. I didn't know the comp plan well enough because I would have made that other $9,000 happen if I knew that it was there. But we were just, you know, bringing people in and duplicating a simple process to make it simple. People have to say in their mind, oh my God, Jenna, is that all you do? Seriously? Is that all you do? Yeah, I connect with strangers and I give them gifts and give them kudos to build that connection. And then I ask them to do me a favor. Wait a minute. It can't be that easy. Hell yeah, it is. It really is. But they're not going to connect you with their people. You got to get them in dream mode to get them to give you their people.
That's genius. You know, it's not hard to fry an egg, but if you didn't know how to do it, it would be a little complex. So as long as you know the steps on how to duplicate this process, it becomes very easy. I remember actually seeing, I believe, Peggy Britt on stage, who was from Amway, and she said, keep it simple, stupid, right? KISS.
Really?
That was it. Yeah, like keep it so simple. All right, let's get on to our next question. Okay. You're talking a lot about duplication. You get people to get into dream mode first. I love that because that's not threatening. It's not, hey, will you take a look at my business? Hey, will you opt in? Hey, will you watch this video? It's like, no, let me get inside your head and see what you really want first. And then let me help you. Let me build a blueprint so that you can get there. I love that. But as far as system goes, I know you talk about our system a lot. But what system are you using that's working for duplication? And I don't mean the marketing system. I mean, how do you set up your team group? How do you manage your group? You're super affiliate. You've got thousands and thousands of people now to manage, right?
Right.
How do you organize your team and your training and all of that?
Well, I'm glad for this training because that took me down to one training a week. And sometimes I get Saturdays off when you guys do the virtual Zoom. So it's a virtual launches. So it's really cool. No, I really 2 months before the convention, mentally in my mind, Jenna, I said I gotta hit super affiliate, and then I gotta maintain it for the next 3 months before the convention. So that meant 2 months before the convention, I knew I wasn't going to walk on stage as a super affiliate. And I was freaking pissed. I was pissed because I didn't put my all in. I was distracted. I was doing stuff with my brand. I was doing all kinds of stuff that was stopping me from being focused and making this work. So when I decided to do that, which meant it's easy to go super affiliate, it's the same way you go 5K. The group that got you to 1,000 in volume is not the group that gets you to 25. That's not the group that helps you get to 5K. So what people do is they build a small group and get a little bit of a rank advance, and then they beat the crap out of that small group to try to get the next rank advance. No, so I knew that the existing group that Terry and I had, which I love you all, but it was hovering like at 750, 800 in volume. So that's what they're going to do. So I needed to build a whole new group, just think in my mind of starting over and do 500K again. And it was funny when I reached out to Josh and said, I'm going to Hungary. And he goes, you told me you wasn't going to travel anymore. And I said, yes, but I want master affiliate more than I want to not travel anymore. Never been to Europe, never been there, and went there and met a bunch of strangers. And now we have this huge team in Europe. And so, you know, the whole concept of trying to re-get yourself back into the focus, the MDC is the same for everybody. Same comp plan, same product, same everything. So you got to take your mind and just go, listen, I got to regroup. So when I did that, Jenna, I was going, if I'm building a new group, I don't want them to know all the other stupid steps that I taught my first group. That is simple. Looking back, I wish I never started the vision group. Seriously. Because
so
I'm telling my brand new.
So what was the difference, I would say, like what was the difference between your educational process between the two groups?
Well, the two groups is just making it less steps.
Okay.
One, you know, with incredible peak of interest, you know, get them to pre-enroll. Right after they're pre-enrolled, thank them for getting pre-enrolled and get them activated. After you get them activated, get them to start sharing on social media, build their dreams, and go after their best people. There's the only steps that I have now.
So
Back then it was pique their interest and then plug them into the vision group. Well, why? I'll be honest, I didn't know you or Josh very well.
Yeah.
My ego told me that I was more documented than both of you. My ego told me my training was better than your guys's. My ego told me that my marketing and capture pages were probably better than yours.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people go through that, especially people that have been in network marketing for a long time. They almost learn to jump into a company, but don't trust them fully because every company ends up doing something stupid, right? I mean, It happens time and time again. I mean, we see this all the time. In fact, we've even coined the term network marketing PTSD. What that does is it creates a situation where distributors, affiliates need to create their own tools. They've got to create their own groups, create their own brand, create their own everything, because you'd be crazy to plug them into the company and put them in front of all of that because you don't know what you're putting your people in front of. You've got to control the information that they're getting, right? So we have a lot of, leaders in this industry that are they're trying to dominate their space of the internet, right? So that nobody else, and it becomes this like information hoarding group. But it
You're
doesn't.
this big fish in a very small pond.
Yeah, yeah. But if Robert Hollis can say, listen, I came in and I was skeptical and I wasn't sure if I could completely trust them yet or trust their training or the direction that they're leading people in, and then decide that you can, and that it's easier to just have a small group, very simple steps, plug them into the company, and watch the duplication happen naturally and organically. That says a lot, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. So what I'm hearing you say is, when you first joined, you had your old way of doing things, which was working for you from all these other experiences.
Correct.
But it's a little easier now, and we don't have to do all those extra steps now, and we can make it easier.
I used to have a phone that had a curly cord on it. I don't use that anymore. When people talk about how long I've been in this industry, I've set appointments in a phone booth. It's like, so I tell network marketers that are listening out there and people that are doing online sales, is I look at all these people that come from the affiliate online space, and they just can't let go of the crap that's working for them. But get this, they're not thriving, they're freaking surviving. Every top dog I know, oh, I had $1 million a month. Did you back it up? No, they can't do it until they start something new. And so all these online marketers suffer because they won't connect with their people that just made a commitment to them by buying something and showing that person how to get a result. So, I had online marketers talking to me when I got in, and they wanted me to build some custom pages. And we did. And it was like, oh my God, where are they now? They probably have been in 24 companies in the last 2 years. I'm still here. So if you can make it duplicatable, then people can, with confidence, they'll know the steps that they can lead somebody else through. So most people, I believe, that listen to me, the reason that you're not connecting with people is if they said yes, you'd go, oh my God, I don't know what to do. What do I do? So you got to keep it simple so you can go, oh yeah, I can jump on a Zoom, show them how to activate their position. Now with the lock my spot in, I don't even have anybody tell me that they can't activate anymore. So Josh and Jenna are still working on the dang system. So I want to master your guys' system. I still don't feel like I got it 100% because I think I can make it simpler yet.
I love it. Well, that answers that question. To all of you who are trying to go be, graphic designers and, computer programmers and all this nonsense. I spent a lot of time trying to learn all these things myself because I had to, because it wasn't available in the companies that I was with. There was a need for it, but you don't need it here. You can just plug and play. It's genius, if I do say so myself. All right, let's get on to, I know we're wrapping up about 15 minutes till the hour, but what advice do you have for somebody that's overcome with fear, doubt, or excuses?
You got to be willing to acknowledge that you have a problem. You can't change what you won't acknowledge. So if you know that you're telling yourself that I don't have enough, I need to know more, I'm stuck, I have these limiting beliefs, I don't believe, you got to listen to people's stories like Jenna. Listen to people. They'll tell you of what they needed to do to change inside. For me, it was this book here. So Bill talked to me for maybe 3 minutes. And he told me, you need to go to a bookstore, get The Greatest Miracle in the World by Og Mandino. And he says, here's my phone number. And he says, call me when you're done. Jenna, at that time, I thought I was special again. I realized that he did that to everybody because Robert was so defeated and not believing in himself and not enough and not worthy. I really did have this awful thought about money. You know what I mean? That, people that were rich were on Snob Hill and, all they did is buy more homes and more cars instead of giving money to charity. I believed all that garbage. And so when I got that book, I remember reading it and bawling for longer than I've ever cried, because that was the millisecond that I knew that I was unique, I was a miracle, and that if other people can do it, I frickin' can. And I remember that light switch going on. And the next book, believe it or not, was the one that you shared with me. And I was honest with people. Jenna shared me this book 2 years ago. I should be master already. But what I did is I got the book, she told me to, and then I listened to the CD in the back, and I said, it all right, but I didn't take it. I didn't bring it in. There was one thing on there recently that I listened to that said, Jerry asked Esther and said, if you can create this flow that's coming to you, what about skill? She goes, you don't need it. And I went, that's bullshit. I'm going, wait a minute, because I've worked a lot on my skill. Don't take my skill away. And then I thought back to when Bill brought me in, a broke auto mechanic, 9 months on workman's comp. What kind of skill did I have then? Zero. That guy put me in dream mode, got my people, taught my people, and drove me to a rank. I had no skill. So for those of you that saying, well, I got to get skilled first. No, learn to edify and promote and use the damn system. Then don't forget where you came from. So when the student's ready, the teacher appears. So at that same time, I went back and said, why would Jenna promote a book like that? And I listened to it over and over and over. And every time I listen to it, I get something new out of it, a new paradigm I need to change. And I think different, become different, speak different, get different results.
So the answer to that question is you've got to implement a personal development program at some level of this journey. If you're overcome with fear or doubt or, excuses, it just means you haven't developed yourself yet. That's all it means.
Yeah.
That's why mentors give books, because it's a prerequisite before we talk again, because you got to at least have the basic building blocks before we can even teach skill or even get to the next level. You've got to do that work yourself before you can truly make waves in this industry.
Yeah. So the direct answer to that question is find someone that's already had the problems and ask them how the hell they got out of them and believe them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And that book did change my life. I mean, I was the problem in my life, yet I blamed everything else around me. And it wasn't until I was like, okay, I'm the common denominator here. Apparently I'm the problem. So unless I fix me first, nobody's going to be attracted to this mess. Nobody. I'm going to repel everyone that I get near, it's just the way it is. And the whole, you don't need skill. Yeah, you do need skill. But initially, it's all about alignment. Alignment is the new hustle, right?
Yeah.
So if you can raise your vibration and be in alignment with that which you're trying to attract in your life, the doors begin to open much easier. The opportunities start falling in your lap. It's no coincidence that you ended up in front of Roger Penske and Jim Rohn and all these great people. Even you said we were going into this new company together and, Bill came along and it was a race to the top. The fact that you were surrounded by those people at that time, that timing is the alignment that you were raising your vibration to.
Yeah, I was begging for a father figure, a mother figure for years.
Yeah.
And so I consistently keep getting introduced to him now.
And you were looking for a way to feel validated as a person and whole as a human. And I think everybody needs that for sure. For my last question for you today, what advice do you have to give to somebody that hasn't hit their breakthrough yet? Actually, I have one more question after that. So just answer that.
Really simple on that one is that you got to just figure out what you need for a breakthrough. There's a thing that I think it's Mark Twain that said it. I can help anybody get what they want in life. I just need to find people that know what they want. And when you say to most people, what do they want? They say, I don't know. if you don't spend time to figure out whether I want a better relationship with my spouse, I want a better relationship with my children, I want to be successful, I want to make some extra money, you got to figure out what you want. And then from there, ask people, hey, who do you know that didn't have and now has? And people don't realize that you can reach out to anybody and go, what steps did you take to get to where you are? And they'll give you an exact, in fact, people write books about it. All these books we've been talking about is a person that had a victim mentality that then went into survival mode, that believed that if other people had it, they can frickin' have it. So they started reaching out to people going, hey, I heard a little bit of your testimony. Your life was a frickin' mess, and now it's not. What did you do? And what people mentally do is they think it's, well, Jenna, come on, tell us your magic script. You know, tell us what system you're using. Are you buying leads? See, they're looking for all the frickin' shortcuts because Jenna's going to tell you, so what was the next breakthrough that you got in this book? And you're going, yeah, I read the book. Reading it and absorbing it and reading it and applying it and then reading it to master it. You want to read this stuff so you can frickin' teach it. The way to greatness is the service of many.
Absolutely. Anybody that I mentor, I make them read that book, and I don't talk to them again until they've read it. And I tell them because I don't have a lot of time. So if you can't read the textbooks, then we can't even get to the next level, because I could read it to you. That's what my mentoring would be. Or you could just go read it yourself. And I tell them every chapter that they read, I want them to write down their takeaways. What are they learning along the way? And I tell them to compile all their takeaways and then go live and teach it.
Wow.
And that scares the crap out of them. but it's subject matter everybody can use. Everybody keeps asking, what's the name of the book? That's Money and the Law of Attraction. Also, Robert, will you share one more time the other book that you had? Also, can you hold that one up?
It's Og Mandino's The Greatest Miracle in the World.
All right, you guys got it? Screenshot it. Beautiful. You got it. Gold. All right. And for my last question, what's a question that you never get asked that you would love people to ask?
I love that. I love that, because immediately people are looking for, they want people to answer their question because they think that's the answer they need. It's not. Like, what's a script, or what kind of marketing system did you use? I wish people would say to me, what should be the first thing that I do? If you were me, what's the first damn thing that you would do? And guess what? It's like, I want them to learn that it's the opposite. I've used this quote for years, and I did it from my mentoring from Roger Penske. If what you know that you know that you know, without a shadow of a doubt, if it's not true, when would you like to know it? And most people answer, right now. Oh, no, you don't. I used to believe the way to happiness and success was working for somebody else, until someone proved to me that that was it. Then I made millions, became a best-selling author, and I wasn't fulfilled. I was going like, what the hell is all this about? I'm looking at the ocean from both sides of my house, have a Rolls Royce sitting in the driveway, and I'm like, what is it? And the next step is called interdependence, where every day you get up and try to fulfill a way for somebody else to get the results that they need. That's why personal coaching and a brand was not for me. I could charge people 50,000, 100,000. I had clients that paid me 100 grand, but they thought it was a system and they didn't want to change who they were. So they didn't get results. There's nothing worse in a world than taking people's money and them not getting results, and you just say, hey, it's them. So in MDC, that gave that back to me, Jenna. Thank you so much to you and Josh. Thank you for dreaming and risking. And I know it wasn't easy at the beginning, but frickin' thank you for believing in this, because it attracted Terry and it attracted me. And now I'm back to who I used to be. I get to help all the people that only will pay attention. We can't help the son that Jenna talked about and my sons when you already know everything. You know everything, so we can't help you. So I promise you, your personal developments and personal work in yourself is not going to exceed your income.
It may in the NBC comp plan temporarily because we overpay. It's ridiculous.
Totally.
We're half as hard for twice the pay here. I'm not kidding. And of course, with the disclaimer, it's based on your personal efforts and skill and all of that good stuff. But
I never got check matching on 460 people. Are you kidding me? That's an additional check for me. I'm not used to getting that in any company. And I said this on Aaron's deal last night, Jenna, sorry to interrupt. I'm an expert. I've been doing this for 33 years. If there was a better opportunity right now in the world, I'd be in it. So if you reach out to me and say you got a better company, you better show me your back office, because Jenna did 26 months ago. And I still don't have my weekly checks where hers was. Where hers was. Every once in a while, she motivates me by sending me a screenshot across it. Don't share with anybody. And it's like, she knows that motivates me. So, you know, Jenna and Josh are carving a path that I know if I continue following, that it will get me and my family and allow me to take care of a lot of orphans.
I love it. Well, thank you guys for hopping on today. Thank you so much, Robert, for sharing your wisdom with us. Go follow Robert on Facebook. He's a hoot. And create that duplication in your team. It's really that simple. So thank you guys once again. We'll see you next week, Tuesday training. We got Bob Proctor coming up next. All right, guys, have a good evening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Jenna. I love you.